Joining us, Morning Joe co-host and staff writer for The Atlantic, Jonathan Lemire, co-host of MS Now's The Weeknight and former RNC chairman Michael Steele, and professor of economics and public policy at the University of Michigan, Justin Wolfers. So, John, I think the mandate last night was pretty clear. Address the economy, address affordability, address the single issue that Americans say over and over again they vote on, which is the cost of things. The president did spend some time doing that, but it seemed to me that the second half of that speech, which was based on fear and telling people to be scared of Democrats, was partly in response to the fact that his economic message is weak.
I continue to be amazed, as we're now a decade into the Trump experience, that he makes no effort ever to sort of speak to anyone beyond his own base. Not really. Maybe some thin slice of independence occasionally. And this was more of the same. Though a State of the Union, it could have been a rally speech. It could have been any number of times he talks at the Oval Office, or other times that we hear him day to day. And yes, he spent plenty of time talking about the economy, as aides worked with him to do, as aides promised us that he would. But I don't know that he really showed Americans that he understands what they're going through. There's a real disconnect here with Trump saying this is the best economy ever and it's only going to get better. That affordability is simply a word that was given to the Democrats and we're handling it. And, they're the problem. We're booming. And I just think that most Americans, including a lot of people who voted for him, that's not their reality. And the polls ahead of this speech show that the president is underwater on his two signature issues, on immigration and deportation. And again, he used a lot of dark rhetoric last night on that topic as well. And then, of course, on the economy. That's why he won in 2024. Voters had a fond memory, perhaps a little bit disproportionate, but a fond memory of the economy in his first term. They wanted him to do it again. And yet to this point, sure, the rich are getting richer, but the stratification is very real. And I don't know that he really changed many minds last night, helping his standing in the polls or Republicans ahead of November.
Yeah, it's a K-shaped economy. We keep talking about that, Justin. And he did tout the stock market. But again, not everybody's in the stock market. He touted retirement accounts. Yes, everybody could be happy about that. But there is this looming threat of AI that's coming at everyone and making everybody very nervous. That was not addressed, except in the form of energy costs. So explain why the data did not match up with Donald Trump's message.
Because the data aren't cooperating with the story he wants to tell. There's a serious and responsible discussion he could have with the American people. He could say, as you point out, Katie, we face tremendous challenges with things like AI. He could say that unemployment has been drifting up and we need to staunch that flow. He could say that America's place in the world has fallen due to his aggressive actions, but he could potentially regroup and see if there's something that we can do better. He could say that inflation continues to be a problem and that he feels people's pain, and instead he tells us that prices are falling. So the problem is he's got the wrong program and the wrong rhetoric, and it stands sharply at odds with people's lives.
Yeah, and you can see in the graphic there what the president claimed and what the facts are. Donald Trump has been very good at telling a story and getting people to buy into that story. He won 2 elections off of it, be it on the economy or on immigration or on violence, whatever. He tells a story, and there are people who agree with it, enough so, again, to get him elected twice. Is there a reason to believe that it's not going to work again?
Yeah, because the voters are already telling us it's not working. He's upside down, not just with the broad swath of Americans, independents. He's lost 43 points with independents. He's down 16 points with his own base. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, it's still, high, but it should be worrying to Donald Trump. But here's this level set what we're talking about here. You know this. You've known this and followed this guy from the very moment he stepped on the stage. He doesn't care about the politics of politics within the organs and the sinews of a party to get folks elected and connect that to a broader message to sort of drag the laggards to the. He
doesn't care about Congress.
He doesn't care about anything other than himself.
Yeah.
So if you're in the game of politics and the titular head of your party doesn't even care that you're there, meaning your fate is not aligned with his and his is not aligned with yours, particularly in a congressional cycle where they should be aligned. That's how you don't lose 63 House seats if you're a Democratic Party, or what's going to happen to Republicans this November.
That's interesting. So let's talk about that further, because Donald Trump has always been the guy, and especially this time around, saying, I don't need anybody else to do this with me. I can, I mean, the executive orders, how many has he done so far? 60, 160, 1 million? It's been a lot.
A lot.
He has done very little legislation. The Republican Party can't get behind any legislation because their majority is so thin, and the Republicans in the Senate don't want to work with the Democrats. They don't have a filibuster-proof majority there. So there's been basically no legislation. So when the American public looks and talks about, are they enthusiastic to go vote for a congressperson or a senator?
Right. Why would you be?
Why would you be?
Because he's made them irrelevant. And here's the kicker. Republicans in the House and Senate have made themselves irrelevant. Because at any juncture, particularly after the decision by the Supreme Court on tariffs, that's a moment where you step in. The Supreme Court is giving you your power back and said, no, the authority to level up tariffs, to tax the American people, rests with you. And what did Mike Johnson do in his leadership? Well, whatever the president wants. If he wants to impose a 15% global tax, then that's what No.
It's like they're playing catch and somebody threw them the ball and they just stepped aside.
They let the ball go by them because
Exactly.
they don't want to take on the responsibility. And so if I'm a county chairman, state chairman, a national chairman, and I've covered all those bases, I can tell you what's happening on the ground right now.
Okay, tell me.
Nothing.
But why not?
Because there's no energy.
But they want to get reelected. So why are they sticking by Trump? Why are they not just moving
Because
past
they're
and saying-
afraid they're many men, M-I-N-I men. They're small. They play small ball. From the very beginning, they've always saw Donald Trump as something that he was not. And they gave him power he did not have. Because Donald Trump isn't in the districts. He may endorse you, but he's not running your race. He's not managing your campaign. He's not getting you elected.
They made him who he is.
They made him who he is. And at no time along the way have they decided that this individual is not in our political best interest. And the political calculation for that was realized when Mitch McConnell refused to convict.
Yeah.
After January 6th.
We're also going to talk a little bit later about Kevin McCarthy and mention the trip down to Mar-a-Lago that revived him. But let's talk about solutions here for a second, Justin. If the president, and I'm not going to say the president is in control of the economy. Obviously, the economy is out of the reach of most presidents. It's a slower cycle. But if he did want to change things quickly, if he wanted to adjust prices for the American public costs, what could he do?
It's not that hard. So first of all, back off the tariffs. They're just flowing straight into higher prices at the store. By the way, funny aside here, Katie, the president announced a 10% across the board tariff on Friday. On Saturday, sent out a Truth Social piece saying, effective immediately, it's 15%, but forgot to issue a proclamation. And so as of today, it's completely unclear what America's tariff rate is. So right there, you've got chaos, you've got uncertainty. You've got Obamacare subsidies that are a really big deal for a lot of families. That save them, over $1,000. It really matters. If we get out there and build housing, we had one sentence, I can't believe it, in the State of the Union, literally in the same sentence, the president both promised to increase house affordability and to keep house prices high. I can't believe that his speechwriters wrote two diametrically opposed things at the same time. And then we've got the Trump budget, which is the largest single redistribution from poor to rich in a single bill in American history. Undo some of that, and you're starting to make life a little bit more affordable for middle-class families.
So, John, what is the deal with tariffs? Just to pick up on that, why is the president so hell-bent on sticking by tariffs when the average cost for the individual American was $1,000 last year because of his tariffs, when poll after poll shows they are not popular? Why is he sticking by it?
Donald Trump has very few ideological consistencies, but one of them, and this dates back to his pre-politics days, this dates back to the 1980s, is his belief in tariffs. Now, economists will tell you it's a misguided belief. They disagree with him as to its effectiveness, but this is a core conviction. He doesn't have many. This one is. It's also, it's a point of stubbornness. And he likes using them as a cudgel, as a negotiating tool. Yes, he says it's bringing in money to the country, but he also likes using them as a hammer to negotiate trade deals with other countries. So even though the Supreme Court on Friday struck them down, and we had a furious Trump last week with a news conference denouncing the Supreme Court. We had him on Monday declare that for the future Truth Social posts, he would no longer use capital letters for Supreme Court, all lowercase now, the S and the C. And then yesterday, he even delivered a mild rebuke from the podium. But he has said his administration is going to find other ways to make this work. Maybe they're temporary. Some of them will surely be challenged in the courts. But it seems like the House doesn't want this. It's Republicans sort of asked the president quietly, look, use the Supreme Court decision as a lifeline. Just walk away, cut bait, move away from these tariffs. They're an anchor around our political fortunes this fall. At least so far, he's not doing that.
That part.
All right. Everyone, thank you very much. John and Michael Steele. So great to have you in person.
Good to be with you.
Always come in.
Oh, yeah.
Take the train up. It's nice to have you here.
It's nice to be at your table.
Justin Wolfers, thank you.